The Dead Pair Podcast is brought to you by Kolar Arms, America's competition shotgun, and is fueled by Fiocchi.
Welcome to the Dead Pair Podcast, coming in hot with everything you want to hear about sporting clays. With your hosts, Jason Rambo.
This is what I have to work with, everyone.
And Sean Alley.
Like I said, I was just thirsty.
Oh, boy.
Often imitated, but never duplicated. It's the Dead Pair Podcast. It's showtime.
Welcome back, everyone. I have two special guests joining me today. Mr. Travis Mears. How are you, Travis?
I'm great, Jason. Thanks for having me on.
Yes, sir. I got a lot to cover with you tonight. And Mr. Ben McAnally. Haven't heard from Ben in a while. What's up, Ben? I hear you're stuck in an airport.
I am. I was out west for one of the big hunting shows this weekend, and of course, you know, Central Texas is covered in ice, so I got a few extra days of mountains and snow, and instead of all that Dallas ice.
Yeah, I was just down in Del Rio. First of all, very big thank you to our sponsor, Gun and Trophy Insurance. Mr. Cole Cushman invited a big group of us, and it was me, Ricky Marshall Jr., Joe Charnago, and Corey Cruz, and another gentleman named Ryan. We all went down to, I'm going to screw this up. It's Rancho Bellas Rocas is the name of the ranch. And I'm telling you what, if any of you listening, I know this is a Sporting Clay podcast, but if any of you listening want to go on an exotic animal hunt, I think they've got like 15 different species there. What an incredible time, man. That was a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
Well, and it's like we were saying before we hit the record button, you know, it's fun to catch up with your buddies that are always doing cool stuff off season, right? Like,
yeah.
Well, Corey and Travis, I don't do a lot of social media, but those of you that I'm close with, you get to see some fun, cool pictures. Travis and Corey, they're always dropping something like it's going out of style. So yeah, we all do something when it's not the prime shotgun season, right?
Well, Travis, you were just saying you went on a hunt before the SHOT Show. Where were you at? I saw that critter you pictured there on Facebook. That thing was cool looking. What was that?
Yeah, so that was a Neil guy. I went down to South Texas with Caesar Greeny, and man, we got to hunt the Kennedy Trust, which is a 280,000 acre low fence ranch down there, where they're covered up with just about every critter, and the only critter that you can hunt on the entire ranch is Neil guy. So seeing whitetail and coyotes and everything else just like untouched, unworried about us was pretty incredible. The amount of bucks running around, 20 yards from the truck, and not with, no intimidation from a human being was pretty incredible. And then the Neil guys are such a badass animal. They're huge and so different from anything else that it was a great hunt and had a good time. And then I flew straight from there to South Florida Shooting Club and did a trick show for a Boy Scout fundraising shoot, and then flew home and then went to SHOT Show. So it's been a busy couple weeks. Sounds like it. Ben, have you been pulling the trigger on any animals here lately?
A little bit. I've actually had some close shooting friends, like starting with nationals. John and Jared Greenwood came out to the ranch a little bit. We did kind of a long range course and did some shooting. Will Anderson, shout out to Will and his sister Kate, but Will came out and I think he killed like 9 pigs in 3 days. Closest one's 400 yards, farthest one's like 1,200 yards. So yeah, I everybody knows I collect shotguns, and I take a little bit of grief for having a different one at every event, but gosh dang it, I love the hunting. This sheep show, I'm getting ready for, so I've completed 2 of my 4 for the Grand Slam Club, and I'm getting ready for a desert bighorn hunt that's coming up here pretty soon. And then I met with my outfitter where I'll finish my Rocky Mountain. And then I've got some Spain, muskox in Nunavut, just some cool stuff coming up over the next, those are all big trips. You got to plan them out like 3 years. Everybody talks about having 12, 15 months worth of deposits on Score Chaser, right? Like what about what happens when you book a Rocky Mountain bighorn hunt like 4 years out, So right. Easy does it, like, yeah, you got I got deposits on like 1,000 things on Score Chaser. Like, I don't know, you could be dumb. You could be me.
Well, I've never been on a guided hunt like this before. I mean, I hunted all my life, but I've never been on, a ranch like this where it's a guided hunt. And it was absolutely incredible. And I highly recommend. In fact, I'll even put the link in the show description of this ranch that I went to. But thank you again to Cole Cushman of Gun and Trophy Insurance for putting it together, because it was probably one of the most memorable weekends of my life. I mean, it was incredible. And like I said, the species there, I mean, they had everything from gemsbuck to aoudad, whitetail, axis, black buck. I mean, the list goes on. And what was cool is, like, I got my black buck, I think it was probably around noon, and we all went up for lunch. And then I spent the afternoon. You can shoot as many hogs and coyotes as you want. And I had cleared 4 hogs that night. And, I mean, just having a ball. I mean, I felt like if you're into any kind of hunting, it's like Candyland, you know what I mean?
It sounds awesome.
It is. It's really awesome.
Well, shout out to Cushman. And I'm a Cushman customer, so good on them. I don't know if they're a sponsor of the show or if you have a professional relationship with them, but I can say there's a lot of great places to insure your guns, and we all go crazy places where you probably should have gun insurance, right? Like, I don't care if it's San Antonio, Chicago, Pennsville, New Jersey, or Tucson. If you're traveling and doing what we do as a hobby and as a passion, like, it doesn't always have to be them, but you better have somebody on your side. So shout out to Cole. Like I said, I'm a customer, and I'm a happy customer.
Yeah,
I am too.
Are you, Travis? Good.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
It started, myself, Ricky, and Joey flew in on a Thursday night, and the next morning we were getting picked up and taken out to the ranch, and we were all sitting around just having a cocktail talking, and the stories went right into the horror stories that you hear from people that have, either had firearms stolen or damaged or lost in shipping, whatever, and how Gun and Trophy help them. Like the policies that they write and the coverage that they have is second to none. And it's definitely worth something looking into. And I push it every week here on the show, but it's understated, really.
Yeah. And you're talking to true trophy hunters, right? So, like, it's not just traveling with your shotgun, it's rifle, it's taxidermy, it's trip insurance, it's other things. So anyway, we'll quit being shills and dorks and get to talking to the meat and the potatoes, but it's serious. And we run in a community where that's an important thing. So yeah.
Those guys are super easy to deal with too. I was chuckling a minute ago because I got on their website and bought a policy and paid for it, and like, I don't know, 2 hours later, I get an email and said, "Hey, Travis, just verifying you didn't need another policy because you already have the same policy in place." And so I was like, well, I guess I forgot about that. So they refunded my money, but good. They're a good group and great reputation in the industry.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. Anybody that doesn't have them needs to. We do have one tourney talk to get, or actually 2 tourney talks to get to.
It's Tourney Talk. Brought to you by Score Chaser.
The 2026 Alabama State at Auburn Oaks, July 30th through August 2nd is now open. And a reminder, both Dead Pair Blast, April 3rd and 4th at LA Clays and December 11th and 12th at Rocky Creek are now open. While we're speaking of reminders, we will not have a show next week due to the big blast down here in Florida. And also the Dead Pair swag is now available. Just go to our website, thedeadpair.com, click on the tab that says swag, and pick you out some goodies. Travis, I'm super excited, and I need to talk to you offline because I'm a late register. I'm coming out there to you, Defender Outdoors, for the Texas State shoot.
Right.
That is April 14th through the 19th. I know it's a little late, and like myself, I'm having a little trouble getting in. Can you still squeak a few people in if you can get out there?
I'm certain that we can make room if there's not opportunity to add a B squad or anything like that. Registration is pretty full. I think we're over 815 right now. But we got lots of events and lots of opportunities. And so we hope that any and everybody can make it.
Yeah. While we're talking about it, Travis, just as a little preview, what do you have for payouts?
Good question. And I knew that off the top of my head a year ago when I planned this.
Sorry, man. I didn't mean to put you on the spot.
I'm going to say, while you dig that up, because I know you'll have a lot of details and a lot of stuff to share, Travis, but the several times I've been a guest on the show, it was when I was the president of the Texas Sporting Clays Association, who, state associations, right? Like they put on these shoots and, or they partner with clubs and they put on something, for their members. And so I'm still a has-been on the board of directors. My attendance isn't required on a day-to-day basis, but I've dialed into several calls and, they put in a ton of work and a ton of thought behind the scenes. And just like many of the NSCA shoots, right? Like the NSCA is an amazing governing body. Are there things to improve? Absolutely. Like Michael Hampton's been on this podcast saying like, hey, if you have a great idea, send it to us. We're all going to make the world a better place. And I think your state associations do the same thing, right? Like we want to put on a championship. We want to put on a good show. Texas is unique that like goodness gracious, behind like Nationals, US Open, Jack Links. I mean, Texas State is enormous. And so it's quite the undertaking. So shout out to current president, Sarah Culbreth, who I love and appreciate just dearly. That is a volunteer position. Shout out to our vice president, Dominic Grassi, who's not only a professional shooter, a professional coach, a new father, but then like is volunteering because he loves and cares about sporting clays in Texas. And so, the board, while they are volunteers, and anytime I hear somebody getting upset at a volunteer board, in the kindest way possible, I roll my eyes a little bit, but they're trying to do the best they can to put on a good show. And if 830 of the 850 people there have the best time ever, then that's a huge win. And my sincere apologies to somebody that, that it wasn't the perfect shoot or it wasn't the perfect event, but, we're trying to make the best decisions for everybody. And so, my group of friends, we travel a lot. We shoot at an elite-ish level. I mean, I'm the ish. There's definitely some elite guys that I run around with, but, we've got to make it friendly for, master through E. We've got to make it friendly for, sub junior through legacy. And that is we all know the saying, like, if you try to please everyone, you please no one. And so it's an impossible task. And hopefully I've killed enough time that Travis has all of his details though. But I would be remiss if I didn't thank the TSCA board, and that, we talk often about like, hey, when you're in that chairman position, you will be successful if you leave the place better than you found it. And so I carried on the legacy before me, and they're doing it in the term after me. So big shout out to the TSCA folks.
For sure.
But this is Travis's show to run, and we help where we can. But, Defender will put their best foot forward. And Michael Hampton and I have talked about this before. When a club chooses to do something or not do something, that should reflect on the club. And, they're an individual for-profit business. And so if you go to a big shoot and you don't like it, tell the club. If there's a rules violation, if there's a safety concern, contact the NSCA. There's something that's happening at the club, whether it's the national or the state associations, we're governing entities, and these clubs are for-profit businesses. And so, if the club does something you like, patronize them with your business. Go back and see them, go to shoots, because that's what makes the world go around, and that's how you reward good behavior, right? I mean, I think you guys would agree. And I think that's why every time Travis opens the doors, there's 250 people at a Saturday shoot.
I appreciate that, Ben. When we did the state championship in 2022, you were instrumental in getting us, plugged in with the event, because that was early on in our path. But then even more instrumental in helping us put on just a great show. And so thank you for that. And the current TSCA for, the opportunity to do it again. we're really excited, and payouts, going back to that question, it's going to mirror a lot like what we did for the South Central Regionals in 24. And so for the overall 5,000 plus a big award, and runner up 2,500, and then the class it'll go 1,000, 750, 500, all the way down to 200. And in concurrence, it'll go 500, 300, 200. I think there's right at 38,000 in the main event. But more importantly, and I think more talked about, is our awards. We always have the best awards, or at least I like to think that. And so we'll have a lot of great buckles. We've done spurs. We've done silver pendants. We do a lot of wood, custom wood stuff. We've got some, a lot of the bronze eagles. We've actually got a new bronze shooter that my trophy guy got a patent on, and a couple other things. So we try to put together a lot of awards. We try to make sure that everybody goes home with something if they earned it, and really just want everybody to have a good time while here. Little Texas hospitality to go.
Let me ask you this. Well, let me preface this question with this: I'm vice president still of the OSU, the Ohio State Sporting Clays, and
Right.
We're always chasing you guys. I mean, because Texas is number one in the country for attendance, and we were fortunate enough that last year we got the number 2 spot. But on your payouts, is that in-state only or open purse? And the reason why I asked that is because that has been a big topic, a big controversy from state to state, and it's even been discussion within our state. We're open purse, right? Like, I don't care where you're from. You can come from friggin' Alaska. If you win, you win. But the awards are also another part of that conversation too. So you guys pretty much open anybody, or do you have stuff select for just in-state?
So all the events are open to everybody except for the main event. And the main event, we have in-state awards, and then we have non-resident awards. So for example, non-resident champions, $1,000, runner-ups 500, and then class plays 250, concurrent pays 250. And all of those come with the award. But in all the other events, it's open to everybody.
Okay. Another thing too, we had Abel on here a little while ago, and he said he was going to get the opportunity to come down and help you set some targets. So who are your target setters for the event?
Abel is going to help us with the prelim and the Audios Cup.
Okay.
And then myself and Gary are going to set, I don't know, 2 or 3 of the events, a couple of the main events, and probably 5 Stampede tasks. And then Christian Daniels, who is one of my target setters on a daily basis, is going to set a course or 2. And then Buck Heath with Heath Sporting will be setting small gauge fee task, and I think one of the small gauges. And then Ryan DeVusser, who runs the Brownwood shooting sports, is going to come up and help us with the small gauge and a couple other things. And so we've got a great team, and all of us work well together. And so we're going to put together a good show like we've done in the past. I like to spread my wings a little bit out there on the main event. I've set the Fab Arm the last couple of years, or last couple of majors we've had, and then 5 stand and fee task. And so Gary and I will get out there and do what we do, and hopefully everybody enjoys it.
Well, I love it, man. It sounds like you got like a diverse group of guys setting targets, and that makes it fun. You're not just getting the same flavor every event, if you know what I'm saying.
Right. Yeah. And with that many events, you gotta spread it out a little bit.
Yeah, exactly.
One of the things that he dropped, the DeVussers, Ryan and Kaylee, if you shot AFS at Nationals last year, you would have spent the afternoon or the morning with the DeVussers, and they have a passion for it, and their little club in Brownwood has gone from nothing to something in the last 5 years. So big high five, big shout out to them. And if that's a name that you don't recognize, you should and will soon.
Awesome.
Ben, being at the range every day, I get to hear about all the places that everybody goes on the weekend to shoot, and that good and bad. But I've never heard bad out of Brownwood. I've never heard bad out of Ryan, and so it was an easy decision to team up with him on this deal, and I know we'll have fun working together.
That's very cool. Golf carts, I'm taking it you got plenty of those available, Travis?
Plenty, many as you want.
And I know you, being a Fiocchi guy, you got plenty of ammo on stock.
Yes, we'll have all the major brands available. Fiocchi, Federal, BMP, Remington, Rio, Winchester, all of them are supporting the event, and all of their shells will be on the grounds ready for anybody to pick up.
Very cool. I know from previous conversation with you, airports and hotels are a good 9 iron away from the club. It's not very far at all.
Right. Yeah. So the airport's easy, 45 minutes to an hour, depending on traffic. And then on our website, defenderoutdoors.com, there's a tab for Clay Sports Ranch because we got another location. The Clay Sports Ranch will have a tab for the state shoot, and if you scroll down, and just about any information you want to know about the event will be listed on that page, ranging from RV to golf carts to hotels and restaurants and attractions in town. And so I encourage everybody to take a look at that. The hotels that we partner with are all very close to the club and hotels that we've partnered with in the past. So we know they're good representations of our event. But yeah, we should make it pretty easy for people to find information on that.
Okay. One last question about the state shoot. Any giveaways or raffles you wanted to mention?
I'm sure there is. We do a hospitality event every night, except for Friday night because that's the TSCA Hall of Fame dinner. But every night we'll have food catered in. We've always got beer there for the shooters. And then on Saturday night, we throw a big party. We're having Joe T. Garcia's catered the event. That's the most popular restaurant in Fort Worth. And we have live music, and we'll do the make or break snooker shoot off. We'll do a Calcutta like we did at the regionals, and make it a really fun evening for everybody.
Very cool. Well, you just mentioned beer and band. You just picked up 200 more shooters.
Exactly. The TSCA Hall of Fame. I'll comment about that. If you're interested in going to the Hall of Fame banquet, those tickets can be purchased through the Score Chaser. And then pending availability, the rest of them will be available on site. The TSCA Hall of Fame, we recognize. There's two ways to get into the Hall of Fame, right? It's a blue jacket regardless of how you're in the Hall of Fame. But we've got people who have earned their way in through their prowess as shooting, and then people who have just served the association and left the world a better place. And so the TSCA Hall of Fame banquet, it will have some giveaways. There will be special things. It's worth getting a seat for. We're still in the process of finalizing a few of those nominees, and I don't think I'm at liberty to say anything that's not public, but it's a wonderful time. And yeah, direct your questions all back to the current TSCI officers, because raffles, giveaways, big party. I'm 99% sure it's off-site, but it's super close. It's rarely more than a 10-minute drive, so it's worth attending.
Sounds like it.
For sure, every year.
Well, Travis, the elephant in the room, or the big topic, however you want to address it, is the new Defender Outdoors that's coming. For those that didn't catch your video, let's start with this. Why the new location? What's going on? Is there, like better landscape? Tell us what's going on.
Well, Jason, I've been at my current location. The end of this month here in 4 days will be our 8-year anniversary.
Wow.
And in those 8 years, we've hosted well over 1,000 events. We've raised millions for, charities and various events through that. And the reality is that we've just outgrown our current location and my current infrastructure. And so multiple times over the years, I've looked at building what I think we need, but it's really hard to make the decision if you don't own the ground. And so it's really just kind of a next phase of growth, sticking our chest out and making that decision to go get something bigger and better. And so, when I kind of reflected on my own personal reasons, it's like, man, I don't want to go do anything else. I could go do anything I want. I've done other things before this, but this is what I want to do, and I'm good at it. And there's a lot of people that benefit from it. There's a huge, awesome shooting community in North Texas. And so if I'm going to be doing this for the next 25 years, then I want us to have the place that we need. And so We've secured 235 acres, which is a little over twice what I'm currently operating on. Very close to town. It's 10 miles south of where we're at right now. This property actually has much better terrain. There's hills, there's trees, there's open fields, there's water. And one of my favorite pieces of it was that there's already some current infrastructure in place that I'll be able to remodel and really make special. I'm actually way ahead of schedule on that. I was picking tile 5 minutes before you called me for the shower and bathroom house. And so it's coming along. We got 235 acres. We're going to have 5 sporting clays courses, all of them 14, 15 stations. We're going to have 2 Halise fields, 7 trap fields, 4 skeet fields. We'll have international skeet, bunker trap. We've got an indoor event pavilion with seating of 500, a pro shop that's just at 1,600 square foot of retail floor, and then another 2,000 square foot of office and storage space. There's a registration building that's I think it's 1,200 square foot, and we're going to use it solely for the purpose of registration at major events, NSCA events, and all of our corporate charities that want to use that space. And my favorite part about that is all of these structures are up on a hill that overlooks the entire property. And so when you walk in the front door, you do your registration, you'll go out the back door, and it's going to put you on a porch that's kind of overhanging the hill. And you can look to the left about, 1,000 yards, and you'll see the most south course. And you'll look to the right 1,000 yards, and you'll see the most north course. And there's going to be golf carts and clay targets and buggies going every different direction. And from that vantage point, you'll be able to see the entire property. So we're making a bunch of social entertaining areas out of this, scenic spot that we've got. And, if anybody that's been to our club before, one of the things that we are short on is not only our pro shop square footage, but also restrooms. We have to bring in a lot of restrooms because my little house on the prairie that I've currently got, it's got 1 men's and 1 women's. And so I think it's funny to bring up that this new place has got like 10 men's and 10 women's. There's more, within 30 yards of the pro shop than on my entire property that I've got right now. So, I'm really excited about the infrastructure that we're currently remodeling, but we're also going to be putting in 60 cart barns that will be for rent. We're putting in 40 or 50 RV spaces with water and electric. And then, the sky's the limit after that. So to answer your original question, I had an opportunity to go big or go home, and that's what we've done. Is we put our best foot forward. Here we're trying to build a complex that will be known nationwide and try to include all of the games that you may or not want to shoot on any given day.
Well, I could tell you're excited about it because you kind of glossed over about half a dozen questions I had for you. So let me break it down a little bit. You mentioned it was down the road. So what is the exact location of the new property that's going in? How far from Dallas Fort Worth Airport, that kind of thing?
Okay, so from the airport, it's still 45 minutes.
Okay.
If anybody's familiar with our current location, instead of being on the west side, we're going to go to the same exit and go south 10 miles. And it's right on the toll road. There's a toll road called Chisholm Trail Toll Road, and it's exactly 10 miles south of I-20 on the toll road. The gate's 100 yards off the toll road, so extremely easy access. And there's also non-toll ways to get there. So, the way I found this place is kind of special to me, is I looked at a ton of places, but to get the amount of ground that I needed, I was going to be way out of town. You're talking 30, 40 minutes west of where I'm currently at. And I looked at a lot of places and I just could not even make that work mentally. With the volume of shooters and the quantity of people that we try to service, they're not going to be able to get that far out. And so driving home frustrated one day, I called an old family friend that had a shooting range in the early 2000s that I shot at after school. In high school, I'd run out there and practice. It was only open for a few years because they didn't really ever have anybody that wanted to manage it, and they didn't want to do it because they had other businesses going on. And so I called and asked. I tried to buy this place 9 years ago. To be honest with you, I couldn't afford it. At that time, I didn't have a business that proved it, and nor any money. Now I have no money, but I've got a business that proves it. And so, called, and he goes, it's funny you ask. We're actually about to put that place back on the market. And I said, don't do that. I'll meet you down there tomorrow. And so we went down there and made the deal right there on the tailgate. So
nice. So you talked about some of the topography, obviously, that this location has that the current one doesn't, right? So
right.
I'm thinking that you got some rolling hills, some water on the property. I mean, tell us what's drastically different about where you're at.
I would say it's a different terrain, all the way around. Right now, we're kind of on it's a grasslands with mostly mesquite trees that are, no more than 15 foot tall and any of the best trees. This current spot's got some mesquites, but mostly hackberries and oak trees. But I'll have my favorite course is the ranch course, as always, and it's on the southern part of the property, and it's going to go from being on a high elevated spot to going down a pretty steep hill, crossing a creek, and then ending up in an open field. And what I did when I mapped all this out was I put at least 70 yards and 80 yards in some spots between each station, because one of the constraints that I've got in my current location is because of the way that I built the course originally. There's some stations you can't throw a decent crosser because it would go in front of the next station. So,
right.
We've learned so much over the last 8 years that I'm able to implement in this place, and really it's going to give us an opportunity to do just about anything we want. But going back to the terrain, so I've got one course that's probably going to be like our daily, corporate charity event course.
Yeah.
And it's literally in an open field. But I've already secured all of the dirt from a football field, and this has worked out really good for me in the past. And we're going to bring that dirt in, and we're going to build terraces and hills and all kinds of stuff to give that field some topography. If you're familiar with the Lone Star course that we've got right now, that was actually a football field that we brought in. And the guy that brings me the dirt, he builds tracks and football fields for a living. And he goes, man, you got to take this dirt. It's going to be the best grass you've ever seen.
Nice.
These people are tearing this field out and they're putting in, artificial turf. And he promised me that it was going to be the best Bermuda ever. And here we are 5 years later, and it looks like a golf course. And so we're going to do that same thing again on that course that's out in the field. But all the rest of them are pretty well, they got a good variety. So you're in the trees, you're out of the trees, you got good shade, there's good space between stations. I've already got, I think it's 550 loads of asphalt that's been delivered where we're creating the roads and course paths. They'll all be, 15 foot wide and good hard packed roads. Parking up by the pro shop, it's 3.2 acres of parking. And then there's additional parking for trailers and stuff like that. So like I said, man, we're trying to build this as big as we could ever need it.
Well, one of the things you mentioned in your video is that the Fort Worth Skeet and Trap Club are joining you on this property. How did that come to be?
Right. So Fort Worth Trap and Skeet is a legendary club that's literally only 2 miles from our current location. And I've been a member there for years, and it's a great, skeet and trap club. They also have bunker and 5 stand on a kind of smaller scale, but they have the same constraints, in that area where there's incredible development happening around my current location and around theirs as well. And so, they were looking, and they in the current board, they invited me to lunch one day, and they were kind of, feeling me out for what the opportunities might be to bring their stuff over to my current location. And I said, well, that's probably not going to happen. I'm using every inch I've got. And so then the conversation of looking started, and then it's like, well, if I want to go build a place, then you don't want to go build a place, and vice versa. So we started the conversation almost a year ago, and it took all of that to get this deal done. But it's really going to give the shooters in Texas a world class facility that they can do everything in one place. And both of us have really good membership bases. And so those two are going to come together. And, I've got guys that have never shot skeet, and they've got guys that have never shot sporting clays. And so now everybody's going to get to do everything they want all in one place.
That is cool. That is really cool. Now, you kind of glossed over the pro shop when you were getting all excited there at the beginning. So business as usual for the pro shop, or because you have more room, can we expect a little more there? Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah, we will. I'm going to try to keep it laser focused. We're going to have more guns and more ammo and more shotgun stuff on a larger scale than what we've got. But I've also got other passions that I want to, add to the pro shop. For example, nice rifles, nice pistols. And so I want to kind of keep it pretty focused. We've got another store. It's the largest indoor rifle pistol range and retail store in North Texas, Defender Outdoor Shooting Center. And at that store, we have a huge retail space where we carry everything from the $200 pistol to the $6,000 pistol. I'm not going to do that in this in this new location. It'll probably be, the good and best will be your two options, but we'll have the ability to kind of carry pistols, rifles, and some of those accessories as well.
Okay. So are you already, no, this is a silly question. I know you well enough to answer this myself. I know you're already planning big events in the near future. Are you maybe looking at a regional bid soon?
So we just secured the 2027 South Central Regionals. And that'll be hosted June 1st through the 6th of 2027. So
nice.
That'll be the first big shoot at the new location, and that'll be kind of a grand opening for everybody that hadn't been there already.
Little drop there on that one. Good.
Right.
Glad to hear that, Travis. That's awesome, man. And I got this question written down. You've already answered it, but I'm going to ask it anyway. I got here, Travis, I know you well enough that you have a good business plan and a vision long-term for this property. And what I was going to ask is, can you share a little bit of that vision with our listeners and what it would mean for their experience when they visit the new club versus what you currently have? But I think you kind of went there, man. I mean, you could tell. Anybody that knows you listening to this right now can tell how excited you are, and I think we got big things to come for the new Defender Outdoors. What do you think there, Ben?
Well, I was going to say, I want to approach that from a customer standpoint, right? Because I'm nobody. I'm just a guy that registers and shoots a lot of shoots. People vote with their feet. When you put on a good shoot and you put on a good product, you will have a ton of people coming through the door. The location's awesome. The amenities help. My buddies that we all talk about what our 5 or 10 favorite clubs are, right? Like a lot of those end up floating to the top. But I'm a life member at my local club where I served and continue to donate and serve. I'm a paying member at a few other clubs that are special to me and where I travel a lot for business. But Defender feels like a second home. And I sat for the last 20 minutes smiling like a goofball on a Zoom call because one of my favorite people to just share life with, right? Hunting stories. I love, talking to Ray Lynn. I love teasing the kids. I love it when all of our buddies are together, when you can get Travis and Greg and Corey and my friends like Clayton and Juan and Brian and everybody knows our group. Everybody knows this Central West Texas, group of buddies.
Ben, we refer to y'all as the Goon Squad. So everybody knows y'all.
We are in fact. And since I'm the most nimble one, I'm always, if we have consolidated on a golf cart, I am the clown that rides on the back of the car, but life's too fun to be serious so much. Yeah. And when I'm at a shoot, I just want to have a good time. And as a customer, right? I've been promoted to customer now. As a customer, Defender feels like home, and my friends and I feel the exact same way. And that's why we make it a point to be there. I got to drive past half a dozen clubs to shoot a defender, and go look at my NSCA history. Actions speak louder than words. So I say this stuff behind Travis's back. I'll say it to his face, and I'll say it to the whole world. Like, I'm so proud. I'm so proud. I'm so happy.
Yeah, I mean, Travis, this is exciting, man, and I know it's probably as excited as you are. It's probably a little scary too. You know, I mean, you're starting a whole new venture, but I think you've got the experience behind you as a shooter, as a business owner, and you've proven yourself, man. Everybody should be excited about this.
I appreciate that. And Ben, thank you for those kind words, man. And when you were talking about standing on the back of the golf cart, it reminded me of when you booked that really, really nice house in Houston for us all to stay in. And then you ended up sleeping on the floor, you know. So, I felt really guilty in the king size bed.
But I tell, if you spend any time with us and we go to dinners and we have fun, and when you see, we hang around late because, Clayton and Juan are more than likely going to make a break shoot off, right? Because they're our actual friends that know how to point a shotgun. And, when we set up dinners and when we do things and go places, it's because we're having the best time ever. If you're at a shoot and you're sad because you missed a target, or you're not on the right rotation, or the weather sucked or whatever, like, I don't know, maybe fishing's for you, right? Like, shooting clay pots out of the sky for imaginary ego points is as cool as it gets, right?
Yeah.
And it's fun to play with your toys, and it's fun to travel with your friends. And I know I'm being a little hyperbolic about it, but like, man, just that, right? Like, split a golf cart with a buddy, rent an Airbnb. I feel so fortunate to be there, and it makes me so happy. And that's why I try not to miss a major, and that's why I try never to miss a Shoot It Defender Clay Sports Ranch.
Well, and, to back up what you're saying too, Ben, I mean, yeah, okay, I said we refer to you as a goon squad, but that's in fun, right? Like, I mean, that squad.
Oh, and we're having fun, and we are knuckleheads. Amen. Yeah. Have you ever met Greg Wolf or Cameron Hicks? Like, amen. Yeah. Just maybe one of the best dinners I've ever had in my entire life ended with a carajillo. And if you've never had one, you must. Shout out to Christopher and Clay Nash down in Houston. But it's a espresso tequila based dessert cocktail with like cream on the top. I would never have experienced that if it wasn't for shooting with amazing dudes and best friends. And, I don't know. If you want to hear amazing stories, just go find Clayton Nance and Corey Cruz behind the stadium at San Antonio and just sit quiet with your hands in your pocket. Don't try to big league them. Don't try to add any stories. Just listen to how often the hammer is dropped. And that's all for the purposes of United States Fish and Game Federal Services. We will leave that story at that end.
That's right.
Oh my Lord! See how this goes when Ben's on the show, Travis. We went from black bucks to clay targets to tequilas. I mean, it's just.
What else is there?
Right there, you go. Yeah.
See, as a has been, I don't have to do all of the. I don't have to. I still might act like the mayor, but I'm not officially the mayor of anything anymore. So, yeah, all rules are off.
You're our mayor, Ben. You're our mayor.
Yeah. We love it.
Jason, you asked a question a minute ago about, what the future is, and Ben and his story and his nice words described it well. We've always aimed to be your home club. I don't care if you're from Ohio or Louisiana or where you're from, if you're from 5 minutes down the road, and we have to be that for a lot of different people, whether you're an NSCA shooter traveling in, or one of my regular NSCA shooters that's local, or one of the 115 events that we host, or one of my league shooters, and so what we try to do is we try to cater to every single person, and make it their home club. When you wake up on Saturday morning and decide you want to go shooting, I don't want you to think about anybody other than us. And so, customer service and having the right things and the knowledgeable people in place has always been our goal. And so we think we do pretty well at that. But, my current location, I was given a great opportunity I had a wild idea, and a crazy landowner let me try, and it's worked. But being in the area that I was in, I didn't know how long that was going to last. Man, it's just a really, really valuable piece of property that I'm currently on. And so you might notice, other than the concrete on the event pavilion, everything else is mobile, meaning that I can pick it up and go.
Yeah.
And so all along, I knew that was probably going to, be the case. I don't have it. I wasn't told to leave. I wasn't asked to leave, but I didn't want to be, sitting there without plan B when that happened. And so that's the way this all kind of came together. Is we knew that we needed something bigger. We knew that we wanted to put some permanent roots down, and I want to be doing this, when I decide to retire. And I hope and pray that if my kids have any interest, they'll take it. And if not, we'll have the right person in place. This is what we want to do. And
Yeah.
we want to do it for a long time. So that was, that's the purpose of, trying to secure, our own spot where we could, put the money into the infrastructure and build it out the right way and grow with it. And so that's the long-term plan and goals there.
I think what I'm taking the most from this, Travis, is it's, sometimes a club manager or a club owner can get so caught up in the numbers that their only focus is how many clay targets can I sell. And what I'm hearing from you is what kind of experience can I create to the shooter? That will carry you much farther than worrying about how many boxes of targets you're loading in a machine. And and you know that. I'm speaking.
If you do it right, you don't have to worry about throwing the birds because they just throw themselves. And that's what we've always done. We throw. When we were in the top, I think we were number 5 for high volume for NSCA this last year, and we've been there multiple times over the years. And so, but it all comes from the experience, and we want to be a shotgun destination, and that's, we're going to invest the money to accomplish that goal. And we've got the opportunity to kind of do it all at once. And so that's that's the way we're going to approach this. Is when you pull in the gate, I want you to automatically go, wow, this is cool. And there's a lot of clubs that you've been to that you get that experience. And I want to be on that list. I want you to really, know that we're putting our best foot forward, infrastructure wise to provide an A+ facility that will be there for a long time.
Yeah. I tell you what, man, I'm excited. I mean, I'm coming to your old facility here in a couple months, and I'm excited about that. But what I'm hearing though, and I know you're going to be super busy, but maybe if I'm in town an extra day, you can run me down there. I'd love to see that place. I'd love to see it now and then come back for the regional and see what you've done. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And that, to your point, there's a lot of people that are really excited to go down there, and I've been teasing, because I made the announcement a couple weeks ago, but I purposely didn't put the address in there or even the exact location, just the kind of approximate location. And that's driving people nuts, but there's a reason for that. There's a reason for that. I've got literally, 10 crews of contractors out there right now, between mulchers and guys cutting tree limbs and mowing grass and cutting, course paths to, I got the tile guy out tomorrow and, electrician and internet guy. And, there's so much going on out there. I really want to kind of keep this, special. So when I get something that's done, then I'm going to invite everybody out because I'm so excited to have everybody down there. But if you go down there right now, you're going to be like, now, what are you going to do? Because this kind of looks like, a place that hasn't been touched in 20 years. But the amount of work that we've got done in the last month, I actually started construction before I finalized the deal because I was just really confident it was going to get done. And so just another example of kind of sticking it out there and hoping it doesn't get, broke off. But we've got so much going on right there. I'm putting in the second phase of the event pavilion. Hopefully, if this ice will thaw out, we're going to try to put concrete on the ground at the end of this week, if not the first of next week. And so it's going to be an enclosed seating for 510 with stage and audio and all the stuff, AC and heat and big fans. And, and there's so much going on right now. I'm excited to get everybody down. I just want to have one piece done,
Yeah. Yeah. No, I can understand. There are a lot of moving parts right now. I mean, if you think, if anybody pulls in the driveway at any big facility and stops and looks around and thinks about what it would take to create each thing they see, it's a lot. I mean, it's a lot of work.
It's fun though.
Yeah, absolutely. Ben, do you got anything else for Travis before we move on the new Defender Outdoors? He's kind of just shaking his head at me.
Not a thing. Just, I don't know. I'm happy for my friends, and I'm happy for Travis and his crew. I know he mentioned Gary a minute ago. Like that dude works his tail off, and he's, when Travis is out coaching baseball, Gary runs a tight ship. So like, I'm super happy for Travis and his crew, and I'm selfishly extremely happy for my buddies and I, who, we just upgraded our home, right?
Well, you know why that's the biggest compliment, Travis? It's not what he said. It's what he didn't say. If Ben's not inquisitive about what's going on, that means he has faith in you. So take that as a big compliment. But, hey, quick shout out to all of our sponsors, Kolar Arms, Fiocchi USA, Ranger Shooting Eyewear, Atlas Traps, Rhino Chokes, Gun and Trophy Insurance, Long Range Equipment, Taconic Distilleries, Score Chaser, Bear Pelt, Odo Pro, El Jefe Energy, and Slick Products. Thank you very much. Thank you very much to those folks. We appreciate you supporting us and bringing us great guests like Ben and Travis each and every week. We always talk about take someone new shooting, take them to a tournament. Sounds to me like Travis has got a place. If you got a buddy that's a trap shooter that's never shot sporting, I think you can introduce him to both. Right, Travis? I mean,
that's right. All on the same day.
They're all on the same day. You got a skeet shooter, the grumpy old guys that never want to talk. Take them over to a sporting course and introduce them to Ben McAnally, and you'll end up having a few beers, and he'll be your new best friend. So
that's right. That's right.
But no, sincerely, Ben, Travis, thank you both very, very much for doing this. I appreciate you joining me. I know it was kind of a last minute throw together, and we both had some crazy schedules, but I think it's important to get the word out about Travis's new place and about the upcoming Texas State shoot. And both of you hang on for a minute because I want to talk to both of you real quick. But Travis, sincerely, thank you, buddy. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity. We're excited to host the state shoot and regionals next year, and the opportunity to kind of tell you about the new place. I just appreciate that opportunity. Yeah. And a shout out to Fort Worth Trap and Skeet Club for, trusting me to run their ship, and we're excited about all the opportunities ahead.
Awesome. Ben, thank you, buddy. I know you're in an airport. It's a little noisy, and you still put forth the time to be with us, and appreciate you joining us, buddy.
Thank you. Always a pleasure.
Again, everyone, if you are someone that likes to take someone new shooting on a regular basis, get to our website, click on the NSSF +1 banner. They got some ways there. They're going to take care of you for being a mentor. They got a really cool mentorship program called the +1 program. So get to our website, check that out. While you're there, buy yourself a t-shirt. And until next time, we can't wait to see you all back here on the Dead Pair Podcast.
We'll see you next time on the Dead Pair Podcast.
The Dead Pair Podcast is brought to you by Kolar Arms, the mark of performance, and is fueled by Fiocchi USA. The Dead Pair theme song was written, arranged, and produced by Toby Tomplay. Special thanks to the following sponsors: Atlas Traps, Ranger Performance Eyewear, Rhino Chokes, Long Range LLC, Gun and Trophy Insurance, Taconic Distillery, Score Chaser, and Clay Range Design Works.